For 9 years, the only sound in his home was the soft purring of the cat his wife left behind, until 3 men broke in and took even that from him. Arthur Ash Donovan had once commanded battlefields. Now he barely commanded the energy to get out of bed. He lived in a modest brick house on the edge of Graymoor, a rusted-out town nestled against the Appalachians. People passed through. No one ever stayed. He hadn't meant to stay either. But after Elena died, he never found the will to leave. The only reason he opened the curtains each morning was Mia, a delicate snow-white cat with mismatched eyes. One green, one blue. The same color as Elena's, he always said. She was quiet, elegant, and older now. Ash liked to think she remembered the same things he did. The long afternoons reading on the porch, the music Elena played when she cooked, the way the world stopped the day the chemo failed. Ash had stopped fighting then, but Mia remained, the last piece of her, a heartbeat that hadn't walked away. He fed her at 7:30 a.m. every day, gently cleaned her ears. She slept beside his coat, on Elena's favorite armchair, as if guarding something no one else could see. Neighbors rarely saw Ash. He didn't go to town. Groceries came once a week via a silent delivery left on his porch. He rarely answered the phone. He didn't have to. His world was inside these 4 walls, and Mia was the only one who still lived in it. Until that night. The break-in. It was late, past midnight, rain tapping against the gutters like Morse code. Mia had already curled into her blanket, her breathing slow, the purring barely audible over the old ceiling fan. Ash was in bed, but not asleep. He never really slept. Then he heard it, a crunch of boots outside. Not 1 pair, 3. The back door didn't break, it groaned. Then laughter, low, hushed voices. Ash moved silently, his hand instinctively reaching under the bed. But there was nothing there now, no guns, no blades, just a cane and a half-read paperback. He peered through the hallway as shadows moved through the kitchen. One of them opened the fridge, another knocked over a chair. They weren't here to kill. They were here to mock, to vandalize, to play. "Yo," a voice said, "this place is a damn museum." Ash recognized the tone, arrogance dipped in youth and invincibility. He knew it well. He'd trained soldiers like this once. Most didn't survive long enough to become wise. Another voice laughed. "Check this little puffball." That's when he heard it, Mia hissed. Then a scuffle, a loud thud. Then silence. Ash stepped out too late. The back door slammed shut. He heard tires spin in the wet gravel. The house was empty again, but it was too quiet. He walked into the living room. Mia lay at the foot of the chair. Her chair, twisted unnaturally. Her chest still. Blood trickled from her nose. Ash dropped to his knees. "No," he whispered. He touched her fur. It was still warm. She had never bitten anyone. Never scratched. She trusted everyone, because Elena had. He wrapped her in the same old blanket she always napped on, sat beside her for hours. Dawn came, and the rain stopped. But inside that house, time never moved again. Morning. He buried her in the yard. Right beneath the old maple tree Elena planted their first year in Graymoor. There were no tears, only a stillness deeper than grief. A stillness that knew this world too well, that knew what it was like to lose things that don't come back. Ash sat in front of her grave, whispering things only he and Mia would understand. He wasn't praying. He wasn't begging. He was remembering and planning. Because something inside him, something he'd buried long ago, had opened its eyes. The past wakes. The next morning, Ash climbed into the attic. He hadn't been up there in years. Under a tarp, inside an old steamer trunk, lay the remains of someone the world had forgotten. A military rucksack, a knife sheath, a small leather-bound notebook, an envelope marked Eyes Only, 2004, Operation Ember Walk. Inside, names, photos, connections. Ash didn't need to open it. He wasn't doing this for orders. He was doing this for Mia. He flipped open a second box. There, in a velvet case, rested a broken Zippo lighter with Elena's initials engraved. He lit it once, let the flame flicker, then closed it. The fire wasn't in the lighter. It was in his chest, and it was spreading. Ash knew that as well as he knew how to set a tripwire blindfolded. The break-in wasn't random. Young, reckless men, yes, but not just punks. Something about their timing, their ease, the confidence in their voices. They'd done this before, but they had never done it to someone like him. The local sheriff came the next day. Deputy Harris, early 30s, cautious eyes, a bit too polite. "Sorry for your loss, Mr. Donovan. They were probably just drunk. Maybe thought it was an empty place. You know kids these days." Ash looked him dead in the eye. "I fought kids like that in Kandahar. These ones didn't come to steal. They came to test me." The deputy squirmed, offered weak condolences, and left. Ash didn't need him. He had another method. The investigation begins. He started at the gas station. There was one camera that faced the intersection just outside his street. He waited until night, broke in through the back, and accessed the feed. 4 hours of scrolling. Then he found it. 2:14 a.m., 3 figures in hoodies, black SUV, plates partially visible. He copied the footage. Next stop, Maynard Auto Garage, the only custom shop in the region. He used to help the owner's father with heating repairs years ago. They still owed him. Ash asked to see any recent work on a black SUV with off-market rims. The boy behind the counter hesitated. Then, "We installed a lift kit and tints on a black Escalade. Frasca family." Ash froze. The Frasca name hadn't been said out loud in Graymore in over a decade. Not because people forgot, but because they knew better. The Frascas, Giancarlo Frasca, had built his empire on blood, laundering, and charm. His sons, Marco and Raiden, were wolves in designer jackets, untouchable, unpunished. They lived in a mansion on the hill, just outside jurisdiction lines. Law enforcement called them non-priority risks, which meant too rich to touch. Ash remembered Marco. He'd seen him once at a local veterans charity gala, loud, laughing, surrounded by women. The kind of man who never heard no. And now he had killed Mia, maybe even without realizing it. Ash smiled for the first time in days. It wasn't a kind smile. Phase 1. Disturbance. Ash didn't go for the guns. He went for the habits. He waited. He watched. He followed their routines. Marco went to an upscale boxing gym 3 times a week. Raiden drove a custom Ducati to a nightclub called Pulse. Ash didn't follow them inside. He followed them home. He found Raiden's security flaws first, a broken motion light, a gate code scribbled on a napkin inside the glove box. He walked into the driveway one night, dressed like a maintenance worker. No one questioned him. He left a small cardboard box by the front door. Inside, a single white cat collar, bloodied with a Polaroid, of Raiden in the boxing gym, taken from behind hours earlier. No note. Raiden never reported it. Phase 2. Disarm. 2 nights later, Marco's prized SUV was found stripped, not by joyriders. With surgical precision, dashboard removed. Security system gutted, seats intact, except for the passenger side, slashed open. Inside, a USB drive. It played a grainy audio recording, Ash's voice, calm and slow. "You took the last thing I loved. I'll return the favor. Not fast, not all at once, but piece by piece." Marco went silent for a week, pulled all cameras, doubled security, hired a former military consultant. Ash recognized the name. They'd served together in 1998. He sent the man a letter. It read, Stand down, or you'll need another discharge. The man left town the next morning. Flashback, the vow Ash sat on his back porch, staring at Mia's grave. He remembered the night Elena died, how her hands trembled as she made him promise, "When I'm gone, don't go looking for war again. Let the world pass you by." He had kept that promise, even when the VA rejected his claims, even when the neighbors whispered, even when Mia got sick, and he had to teach himself how to give subcutaneous injections from YouTube. He kept it, until they broke into his home and made him bury her. Now the world would not pass him by. He would pass through it, like a cold wind through autumn leaves. Phase 3. Contact. The Frascas hired someone. A fixer. Ash. Found him by accident. Or instinct. A man with a New Jersey accent asking too many questions at the shooting range. Ash sat beside him at the bar after. Told him a story about a man whose cat had died. The fixer laughed, then coughed blood. Ash had slipped powdered capsaicin into his drink, enough to cause internal bleeding if left untreated. Ash left a note on his back. "She was a gift from my wife. You'll feel every part of what I feel." That night, Raiden fled to another state. Marco stayed. Out of pride or stupidity, Ash didn't care. Marco Frasca didn't sleep much anymore. He drank, he paced, he barked orders at bodyguards who couldn't stop a ghost. A man with no name, no trace, no face on any recent database. Only a legend told in whispers among former soldiers. He hadn't called the police, because men like Marco didn't call for help. They bought silence, but silence couldn't protect you from someone who no longer feared noise. Then came the envelope. Plain, cream-colored, no stamp. It arrived at his father's estate, handed to Marco directly by a trembling servant. Inside, a photograph of a woman, long dark hair, soft eyes. Elena Donovan, written on the back. She knew, and she kept quiet. "But I won't." Marco froze. Elena. That name rang somewhere in his memory, somewhere buried in a drawer full of things he was paid to forget. He rushed to the study, unlocked the safe behind the bookshelf, and retrieved an old manila file marked Donovan, Civilian D Transfer. 2008 Inside Hospital Reports. Photos. One signed affidavit from his father's legal team. Elena Donovan had been a witness to something, but she had never testified. Ash knows. Ash had never read the full file, but he had known something was wrong. Elena had told him just once, in a rare moment of fevered honesty, that she'd seen something while volunteering at a hospital linked to a state contract. She never named names. She just said, "If anything happens to me and someone comes looking for you, don't be surprised. And don't forgive." Ash didn't ask more. He had already seen too much in life to go looking for more poison. But now, the poison had come to him, setting the stage. Marco wasn't leaving town. He'd tripled security. He stayed locked in the estate. Ash didn't need to go in. He needed to bring Marco out, so he left one final message, an invitation. It arrived taped to the front gate camera at 3:33 a.m. Single sheet of paper, "Come alone, Sunset Hill. Bring nothing, or I'll bring everything." Marco hesitated for hours, but in the end, he knew. If he didn't go, the man would keep coming, and next time it wouldn't be messages. The confrontation's Sunset Hill was a forgotten lookout, high above Greymoor. Elena's favorite place once, Ash waited at the edge of the hill, standing beside a tree scarred with initials, a +E. The sun was falling behind the ridge. Gold light turned the treetops to fire. Marco arrived in a black SUV. No guards. He stepped out. Tried to act casual. Didn't work. Ash didn't move. Marco broke first. "You want to talk?" "Fine. Let's talk. You think you're some kind of avenging angel, huh? Over a goddamn cat?" Ash's eyes didn't blink. "You didn't kill a cat," Marco snorted. Spare me the moral. You killed the last piece of someone who never hurt anyone. You walked into a home where grief was the only thing still breathing. And you mocked it. Marco's voice hardened. Look, I don't even know what you think you're doing. You think killing me makes any of this go away? No, Ash said. Then what the hell do you want? Ash looked at him for a long time. I want you to feel what I felt. Not in your chest, in your memory. I want you to live the rest of your life afraid of silence, because in silence, that's where I'll be. Marco swallowed. The wind rustled the trees. You think I care about your wife? He snapped. She was nothing. She saw something she shouldn't. She got paid to shut up. Ash stepped forward. She got cancer. You think silence didn't already kill her? You think I didn't sit next to that hospital bed knowing you bastards lived while she faded? She didn't even tell me. She protected me from knowing what you did. He handed Marco a photograph, one of Elena and Mia, taken in that very spot years ago. Now it's your turn to carry her weight. Marco opened his mouth, but Ash turned and walked away. No blood, no gun, just a scar left where vengeance used to live. That night, Marco fled the state. Ash returned home. For the first time, he opened Elena's hope chest. Inside, a sealed letter to Arthur. For after he read it twice, she had known. She had chosen silence, not because she was afraid, but because she knew Ash wasn't built for peace. Now he understood. He wasn't meant to survive war. He was meant to remember it. It rained softly the morning after. Not a storm, just a weeping sky. The kind that made everything look like it was remembering something. Ash stood in the backyard, wearing the same coat he wore the day Mia died. He hadn't washed it. There was still a single strand of her white fur clinging to the left sleeve. He knelt by the maple tree. The grave was simple, a small wooden marker, the initials M.D., and a pressed rose beneath a stone. He placed something new beside it, a silver tag, Mia's collar, cleaned, restored. He sat in silence for a long time, not in mourning, not anymore, in remembrance, because what they took from him could never truly be taken, and what he had done could never be undone, the rumors. Begin word spread, as it always does. A week after Marco left the state, Frasca Enterprises began dissolving, quietly, silently, contracts canceled, bank accounts frozen, no press releases, no headlines, only whispers about a ghost, about a man with no family, no friends, no footprint, who had left only one trail, memory. The police found nothing, no video evidence, no weapons, no trace. Deputy Harris returned once more. He found Ash in the garage working on an old birdhouse. You hear about the Frascas? He asked. Ash looked up, calm. No. Rumor says someone sent them packing. Ash just nodded. Hope he had a good reason. The deputy hesitated, then said, I've got a stray cat down at the station. Real skittish. Old. Might be sick. Figured you'd be the kind of guy who could help her. Ash looked at the deputy for a long moment, then smiled. Just a little. Bring her by. Elena's voice, that night, Ash finally sat down at the table where Elena used to do her journaling. He opened the sealed letter, the one she left behind, the one he had never dared to read. It was short. Arthur, if you're reading this, you've already done what I feared. You let them wake you again. I forgive you, but I want you to forgive yourself. They took my breath. You gave me peace. Now find your own. And if Mia is still with you, tell her I said thank you for staying when I couldn't. All my love, E. He folded the letter, tears threatening, but never falling. He placed it in the fireplace. Not to destroy it, but to warm the room one last time with her words. A new sound. The next morning he heard something unusual, a soft paw against the screen door. He opened it. There, sitting cautiously in the rain, was a tabby cat, thin, with a notched ear, pale green eyes. She didn't come inside, but she didn't run either. Ash didn't speak. He placed a small dish of water near the steps, then sat on the porch and waited. She came a little closer. Not Mia, but not a ghost either. Just something alive. Something still possible. The camera slowly pulls back, rising above the porch, past the trees, into the open air. No music, just the quiet, and the memory of a purr.